Well-known businessman and real estate developer Kevin Frith is the Jamaica Labour Party candidate for St. Andrew Southeastern. He faces off against the formidable force of Julian Robinson. Now, the PNP has been at the helm of that constituency for over 30 years, but Frith is convinced he can take it. Hi, Kevin. Pleasure to have you on our Getting to Know series ahead of course, general elections in Jamaica. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thank you. And of course, before we get into the political stuff, I remember meeting you a year ago at the Noon Technical High. I was there for a graduation ceremony as a guest speaker, and that's where I first met you. But you are known in the business circle, you are known as a developer, you are known in various industries actually. And so we're very much interested to know about your foray into politics. But before we head into that part of things, tell me about yourself because I remember you sharing to the students about your own journey, and you have quite the rags to riches story, literally.
Well, yeah, so Dunoon is actually I went to Dunoon for high school.
Mhm.
And well, so I'm a 41 years old businessman. I born and raised in Kingston. Uh, I am involved in different businesses across real estate industry and as well as construction and distribution.
Mhm.
I would say I'm a lover of football. I don't really play anymore, but I love the game just the same.
Mhm.
Germany is actually my international side,
Mhm.
and I am I love to travel, but not outside of Jamaica. I actually love to go around the island and experience new spots like rivers, some private beaches,
Nice.
that's like that. So that should sum it up.
Very nice. And I feel like you're sort of underselling yourself because it's not just any real estate that you're a part of. You know, you have major projects even now in St. Thomas.
Yeah.
You're a big developer. That's the word on the town.
Well, yeah, so I'm building 400 affordable luxury units in St. Thomas. That's currently under construction. And we're now working out or we're finalizing some plans for another project in Negril on the western side, which is I would say it's geared to affordable housing, but it still will be a little bit above 30 million for a two-bedroom. But that West End one is targeting hotel workers and people in the tourist industry.
And you grew up in Jonestown, which is quite a tough area. What was that experience for you?
Well, yes, I grew up in Jonestown, this area called Tad Lane, which is actually recently I'm understanding that it's in the West Kingston constituency.
Mhm.
I was there from birth until I think 14 years old when we left because there was a crime situation. Like the place was getting violent, and my grandmother just couldn't manage it anymore. So she decided to leave the area. And then after that, she migrated shortly thereafter, and which left me in a position of being on my own as a teenager.
Wow.
So I've been on my own since 14 years old and never look back.
Since 14.
Yeah, since 14.
Wow. So we're not to pry too much into your business, but where was mom and dad?
So my mom died during the same time of us relocating. Didn't grow up with her though. I was separated from my mother from I was 3 months old. That's what I was told because she had me while she was a youngster. I think she was 14 at the time of my birth.
Wow.
And my father was around, but wasn't one of those active dad. So I ended up in a situation where I had to start to look after myself at a tender age.
And so how did you manage to, tend for yourself at 14 years old? You're still a kid.
Yeah, so I had to be juggling different ventures. I got summer job at one point. Um, Another point, I went into the transport business where I was a taxi driver.
Wow.
Coincidentally, I was a taxi driver in the same area in St. Thomas that I'm building the houses now.
Mhm.
Used to operate from downtown to Bull Bay, and sometimes I go as far as Morant Bay.
Mhm.
And, I remember one day I took a client, a passenger, on what you would call a turn off,
Yes.
and I made a turn off in the property next door to the property that I now own. And at that time, I wasn't thinking of saying that I would want to purchase anything, but I was just so amazed by how beautiful that side of the island is.
Mhm.
Many years later, I now own 91 acres over there.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And I mean, the fact that you were pretty much hustling for yourself at just 14 years old, and then now, as you mentioned, things like owning 91 acres of major property. And obviously that's just one area there. It's a lot more. What did you do to achieve that? I mean, how did you manage, as we would often say, to come up then? Was it because of your hustler background that sort of, because when you have that hustler spirit, that drive, it sort of pushes you to accomplish big things?
Yeah, of course. And while my childhood was, I would say, rough,
Mhm.
I don't think I would trade it for anything because it has literally molded me into the person I am today, where I understand things from the ground up. And while I was there trying to figure out what do I need to do, how am I going to survive, I throughout all of that, one of the main thing that I made sure was my focus is that I'm going to achieve the things I need to achieve in an honest way and a way that I'm not going to deprive anyone of anything. I'm just going to focus on working on what I can work and achieve on my own or with whatever help that I can get, but just to make sure that this is done honestly and stay out of trouble because while I was growing up, coming out of a community like Jonestown, and I've been around a lot of youth similar background and the things that I've seen them gone through, whether it's incarceration, death, violence, they're badly hurt in some violent way.
Mhm.
I don't, I just never wanted those things to myself. So I made sure that I stay along a certain line
Mhm.
so that I don't encounter these things.
Yeah. Awesome. At one point did you migrate at any point in time or no?
Well, it's not migrate in the official sense, but I got my visa
Mhm.
at some point after because I was involved in this accident where I was hit by a JUTC bus while I was in 10th grade in high school. And after recovering from that, I got my visa probably about 4 years after that accident. And I went away and traveling, and then I met some people from Amway that had reached out to me via Facebook. And I spent a good while in the US traveling with them, understanding the business model, because they wanted to bring Amway to Jamaica. And I spent some time on the road with them. So it wasn't an official migration, but I was spending a lot of time in the US.
Okay. So therefore, your experience with working with Amway and all of those other jobs that you did sort of gave you that drive to go into launching your own businesses.
Yeah, because, well, the fact is that I grew up seeing my father running his own business.
Mhm.
At some point, I was around him working and learning the trade. He was in screen printing.
Mhm.
So, I also was around my grandfather, who is a building contractor.
Mhm.
So I've just been used to seeing entrepreneurship around me. So it was like a natural instinct of mine that, I'm not seeking employment, I'm more looking to create employment.
Nice. And you've been doing pretty well for yourself.
Yeah, I would say that.
You see, one thing with the people that are really successful, they don't brag or boast. And you certainly embody that. Unassuming, but not to be taken for granted, which leads us to you entering politics because you do give off a sort of quiet demeanor. And I mean, you're known for your business acumen, so one would wonder why politics?
Mhm. Well, I would say throughout my entire life, I go by the notion of when there is a calling, when the universe call, then you need to answer, right? So at some point, I was given a lot to different groups of persons, not just political, but other groups, because being in business and having in total on my team between all companies, I have about say 70 contractors
Wow.
that works within all my companies. And then the building contractor on my real estate project have about another 100 persons.
Wow.
So there's always people, I'm always interacting with groups of persons. And then I know people that I grew up with and people that live in my community, people I usually hang out with. So people approach me for different reasons and different things. And I've always tried to give back because coming out of my childhood experience, I understand what a helping hand can mean to someone, regardless of how old they are or young they are. Sometimes some people really just want help, like, they're really crying out for help, and the person who really give to them may really have blessed them life in a significant way. So I've always been given. So I've given to both political parties, even as late as the running up to the local government election in 2024.
Mhm.
So the thing about it is that after that, I was being introduced to both party in terms of becoming a member.
Mhm.
Not necessarily to say run in a seat or anything like that as a candidate,
Mhm.
but just to be a member and be involved and so on.
Mhm.
But then, after sitting and listening to both sides,
Mhm.
I wasn't sold on what the PNP was putting forward.
Mhm.
It's a case where, I'm a realistic person and I'm a businessman. So, you can't come to me with certain stupid arguments because as a self-made person who is coming from nothing to something,
Mhm.
I can interpret things on every level.
Mhm.
So when you come to me with a conversation, it just have to make sense. And what I get from the conversations with persons from the PNP is that they're really just interested in becoming government, but not necessarily with a plan to say what are the things that they can do better than the JLP-led government. Now, I don't entertain like you trying to bash someone without having reason or facts, It's more like you just playing a little game to kind of win over people. But that don't work with me because I'm a logical thinking person who I've think through a lot of things. When I have conversation with members from the JLP and what I'm seeing happening in the economy, it's more like they're looking for ways and means how do they improve the current situation and continue to build on the things that they have been building on for the many years that the Andrew Holness-led government is in place. So it was just a different type of conversation. One is almost like a mix-up, and one is like a positive conversation that you're engaged in. Me as a businessman, an innovator, when I'm having progressive conversation, it make my mind click. I'm trying to think and help to come up with solutions, not the little ray kind of talking where it's just pure cussing, and I'm not up for that. So I listened to both sides, and obviously I had to make a logical choice. And that decision was geared to joining the Jamaica Labour Party. And after making that decision, I started to spend a lot of time with persons from the Labour Party and understanding, some of the things that is taking place in and around Kingston, because that's where I am based. And it so happened that the opening for the Southeast St. Andrew constituency came about, and I saw it as an opportunity to capitalize on, considering that I'm very familiar with the space. About 30 of my team members live in the constituency. So I'm very familiar. I've been there a lot of times. And in one of my other business that would deal with the community bars, I've been in the constituency as well, dealing with that side of it. So that's basically how I get myself involved in this constituency and in the Labour Party, because I want to make or help make a positive impact on the country, because I really love Jamaica. I would not live anywhere else, and I've been to a lot of places around the world. And each time I travel, I just want to go back home. I miss food. I miss the people. There's just a different vibe in Jamaica. So when I say I'm able to make a positive contribution to Jamaica moving forward or continue to move forward, then it's a no-brainer. I had to take it.
Of course, you shared your reason for joining the Jamaica Labour Party and why you identified more with the JLP as opposed to the PNP. But at the same time, you mentioned there was an opening. So I guess it's not necessarily you had a choice then, so to speak, because that was where the opening was. Because you're the constituency that you're the candidate for, St. Andrew Southeastern. That has been a formidable PNP constituency from in the 1980s. And you're up against a strong candidate in the form of Julian Robinson. So how is Kevin, the newcomer to politics, the newcomer to the area, going to make a difference? And word on the ground is that Julian is actually one of those MPs, according to many residents I've heard say that he works.
Well, you see, First of all, I'd like to say that the constituency is under the control or represented in Parliament by the People's National Party for over 36 years, right? Now, I think they should be embarrassed because there is nothing. I've been through the constituency road by road, and I am not seeing anything in the constituency that the MP or previous MPs should be proud of or can say that they have managed to develop the constituency in a way that, you can hold your head up and say, you know, this is my work that I've put in and accomplished. I am not seeing that. And the residents don't feel or share the same sentiments that is out there in some diluted way. Most of who would say that the constituency is well represented are just persons who think that no matter what, they're a supporter of the People's National Party. There is no, I've spoken to even PNP, who they're PNP voters, and they're not pleased as well. JLP people are not pleased. Look at this very basic example. In Swallowfield, there is a community center that is in badly need of repair. Right? It's not even used by the community for any meetings or things like that. It's basically I have been there as late as 2 days ago, and I've ordered some paints and I've recruited some workmen to go there and start to paint the place starting next week. I've been to Vineyard Town, same thing. One of the cry in the streets from the young people right across the constituency is that there's nothing happening in the community to engage them. Now, with the current situation that exists, how can you not be engaging the young people? The young people are the future. And if you don't engage them in a positive way and in an organized way, what are you leaving them up to do? And as the member of parliament, while you're not these young people parents, technically, but you're the member of parliament who you're responsible for a community or communities within the constituency. And it is your role to put systems in place, put programs in place that is able to deal with everyone who is a part of the constituency, from the baby to the oldest person. There are disabled people in the communities, no help. I started a project recently where we're giving out wheelchairs, cane, crutches, different things to cater for the disabled people. There's nothing like that taking place. Now, when you're leading a community as the member of parliament, you have certain access, you have certain influence. And when I go through the constituency, none of those things. I would say the current MP is not pushing to use neither his influence or his access to improve the community. And this is one of the things too, which I didn't, when I look at the motive of the PNP, it's more like they're pushing a dependency type of a mindset and not a mindset to the people where they're independent and can make decisions freely without feeling as if their decision is based on, or their decision is attached to getting something, right? Allow the people to live a decent life and let them decide how do they make their decisions. Don't place them in a case where it's like nothing is happening and they have to be trying to think that them have to look to the MP for everything. Put things in place. so that the community can build on its own. There's a lot of talent in these communities, but there's nowhere to put the talent. There's no leadership.
Wow, wow. You sound quite passionate there, and you've mentioned that you yourself, even though you're the newcomer, you're already getting projects on the ground. So, what are some of the major priority areas in general, whether it be infrastructure or, as you mentioned, the youth? What would you say perhaps are your top three things if you were successful in the general election?
Well, so one of the things that we already start right now is to look at refurbishing the community centers. So there's one in Swallowfield, there's one in Jakes Road, and there's one in Vineyard Town. And we're going through the section called Woodford Park now to identify an area that we're able to create a space where people can use as a recreational area. So that's one project within itself. The other is to deal with the matter of security, right? So we have acquired some cameras that we're starting to place in different sections of the constituency. And we're looking to partner or to share the camera information with Jamaica Eye as a part of the whole security improvement throughout section of the constituency. And we're also looking at building out other infrastructure that is important to the community. So there is a need for community center. There is a need for more clinic, our health centers. And it's not necessarily have to be a actual or a physical building for the health center, but more to bring in the professionals on a regular basis, whether every 2 months or every 3 months, but something to engage persons who is in need of health care. Just basic checkup, especially with the elderlies. And then you have poor road conditions throughout the constituency. I've been on roads recently where a lady came out to me and said, she's living there for like over 25 years and she has never seen the road repaired at all. No, I don't think the constituency is that big that after 25 years, you can't reach the road.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So for me, youth engagement, um, health, health conditions or health improvement, and just general road infrastructure and security are some of the main things that we'll be focusing on.
Wow, sounds like you have a plan there, Kevin.
Yeah, definitely. So what happened is that my approach to this is that I look at the constituency as a business that is in trouble, and they bring me in as a CEO to turn it around. Now, I have actually put together an organization chart with how I want to have my secretariat running to take care of the needs of the constituency. And all my salary that I would receive as the MP will go towards running that secretariat. Because for a constituency that have approximately 22,000 registered voters, which I would double that figure to say the total number of persons living in the constituency is about 45,000 or thereabout. I would say it need a team, a structured team to run the constituency. We're dealing with different areas: health, beautification, security, disabled, youth. There are different areas in my organization chart that we have different persons assigned to take care of these issues, because without running the constituency as a business, it's not going to achieve the type of success and prosperity that the community deserves. And as a result of that, my approach is a strict business approach where we're running the constituency as if we're dealing with a business operation and deal with it properly.
Nice. And it's good that you're using your business acumen to bring that into the realm of politics, which, that sounds very good. But at the
Yeah.
same time, Kevin, what has the response and the reaction from the residents been like in your, in your constituency? Because you mentioned, for example, Vineyard Town and Swallowfield, but I know it also includes other areas like New Kingston. So you have quite, quite, different groups of people there that you're dealing with, different demographic of people.
Yeah, so the response have been overwhelmingly positive. Like I said, the constituency, based on the feedback, they're ready for a change. When I look at what is going on in the constituency, I can only say that the current MP is very lazy and he needs to really just understand that it's only a few weeks left for election and he will be on his way out and be replaced by someone who is coming in to perform and to handle the business of running the constituency properly.
So you're saying that Julian Robinson is lazy.
Yeah, I'm saying the MP is lazy. When I look at what is going on in the constituency, it can't be nothing else. Look, this constituency of St. Andrew Southeastern is one, I would say it's a very unique constituency, right? Now, I say New Kingston as the Manhattan of Jamaica, and Manhattan, as we know, is a very powerful place.
Yep.
A lot of resources, a lot of partnerships can be formed throughout the business community for this constituency to have several programs running to uplift the people and to protect the people because we're not just talking about the lower income section of the constituency. There's other areas in the constituency that people are earning a decent income, but they're just not engaged at a certain level. And the protection of everyone in the constituency is everyone's business. So if we have a case where everyone in the constituency is engaged as part of the safety and the prosperity for all, I'm sure that we'll have a nice little ecosystem that is working in everyone's interest. And I'm saying there's a lot can happen between the residents and the business community, but it is just not happening because there's no engagement, there's no structure, and there's no real plan how to move the constituency forward.
On a wider level, you're obviously the JLP candidate. You said that the JLP values and their mission align with what Kevin is about. And well, they want to have a third term. In the world of politics, people often get disenfranchised maybe after 2 terms. And it's not just in Jamaica, just generally. Do you think that Andrew Holness will beat Mark Golding?
Without a doubt. Look, how I look at things, we are Jamaican people is not stupid, right? And I am 41 years old, and from I have since till now, I have never seen Jamaica moving forward in the way it is going on now, right? The place is very busy. A lot is happening. The economy is booming. When I travel and say I'm from Jamaica, people, it's like I'm a celebrity and I'm just a Jamaican. People on the outskirts of Jamaica is in love with Jamaica, and it's all about the fact that the country is moving forward. We're progressing in music. We're progressing in just business. People love our food. People love our culture. And all of this is like it's a new push since of recent. So I would say since Dr. Andrew Holness is in government, After the first part and everything settled down,
Mhm.
I would say Jamaica has been just moving forward since then. And Jamaican people should not allow any election propaganda
Mhm.
or any election marketing terminology
Mhm.
to, I'd say, distract them from the fact that we're on a path for greatness. We have been experiencing a lot of positive. Do not let anything at all come between that and Jamaica moving forward. The fact of the matter is, the PNP does not have a credible plan. They all they have been doing is coming on the media, whether TV or radio or social media, and with pure propaganda and pure things that just does not make sense. Sometimes I sit down and listen to the things that they're saying. I'm laugh, almost drop out all my chair sometime when I'm sitting down listening to it because it just does not make sense. A comedy show.
So like what? Tell me some of the things that you're hearing that making you laugh.
Well, look at it this way. In recent time, so I'm a real estate developer, right? And while I'm young in the business, but I have good sense of what to be done, and I also have some amount of engineering background, and I am in the business long enough to can understand a lot of things. And in recent times, I was listening to this thing where they're talking about dumping up a swamp land to build affordable housing. And I'm saying to myself, that just doesn't make any sense. Like if you look at the history of some community that built on riverbed, so the river might not pass there for probably the past 10 years or however much years, and it looked like it all dry and everything. But then the go and build, whatever every rain, whether by hurricane or otherwise, and the river take back its course. Now, with all the solid land spaces around the island, why would you want to suggest that you're going to convert a swampland into a property to build on? That just does not make any sense. That to me, it is as if they're talking to trick the crowd that is within that vicinity or who they think would want to get a house within that area that they're referring to. And I'm just saying they need to stop. Right? Stop telling the people things that you think will get them to vote for you and tell them the logics around things and let them use logic to decide that they want to support you. Don't come with the foolishness and talk about the current government is not doing this and not doing that. It's nonsense. The government of today is working. What the PNP needs to do is come and tell Jamaican people what can they do better and come with facts. So until then, it just doesn't make any sense. And the Jamaican people need to understand that there is facts and there is foolishness. And so far, what I'm hearing coming out of that party is a bag of foolishness, and they need to give the Jamaican people a break and allow us to enjoy the prosperity and continue to work and stay focused in moving Jamaica forward.
Wow, some strong words there from Kevin Frith, JLP candidate for St. Andrew Southeastern, saying that what the PNP is coming with is a bag of foolishness.
It is what it is. I'm not making it up. We can look back at the things that they're saying and determine whether or not it makes sense.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been a pleasure. All the best on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much.